really tough night, really from the outset. I thought they were the more aggressive team. I thought we missed a couple open looks and had a couple turnovers that fueled them early, and a team that good doesn't need any help, particularly on their offensive end. As far as well as they've shot it, it's not been the thing that they've done great so far this year. But again, for a guy, especially a guy like Furphy, when you see a couple layups go in, that tends to help your confidence. But we got beat by a really good team. We didn't play particularly well. Not a whole lot of positive, but Garrison and Connor continue to get better, and we got to just have guys continue to come along and help them, because they shouldn't be the ones that we're talking about here at this point.
Defensively, what's been going poorly for you guys, especially in the paint? Your points in the paint
It's
numbers.
a problem. There's no question. Got to go back and reevaluate if we're taking away threes, but obviously we're getting just annihilated there. And literally, it's at the rim, like all the way at the rim too. I mean, we're not talking about guys making a bunch of runners or mid-range pull-ups. I mean, they're making, in many cases, uncontested layups. So we got to get better guarding the ball at the point of attack, and then we got to figure out if there's another defensive scheme that we need to employ. Maybe some zone. We played some zone today. It gave us a couple possessions where we didn't necessarily get driven as much. We did give up a lob against it, but we just had guys in the wrong position in that possession. But there's no question our defense is an issue, and it's on us all to get it fixed.
What do you think was leading today to the discrepancy in kind of fast break points in Kansas favor?
I mean, they're really good. I mean, it's kind of how they've always played. They are really aggressive and assertive. One of the things that helps you play faster is having a guy like Hunter who can almost assure us that they get, going to get the rebound most of the time. And one of the things that I think goes unnoticed about him as a player is his passing ability. And I'm not talking about just like, passing out a double team in a post. I'm talking about like outlet passes. I mean, he gets the ball down the court. And so when you got guys who start to play with him long enough to realize that, those guys start running more and they get down court a little faster. So that was a big part of it. We don't have that luxury where we know we've got a guy who's going to get 10 to 12, 15 rebounds every night. So it slows us down a little bit because we try to gang rebound a little bit better. And even that we haven't done a great job of lately.
You get home after kind of a weird week of travel. Is it discouraging just to see the performance you guys put together today?
I mean, it's always discouraging when we don't play well. I mean, doesn't matter what else happened. I mean, those things certainly, happened last week. They were part of last week's story, but we lost to a really good team who played well tonight. That's really the bottom line. And for us, we got to figure out what we want to have as the identity and the legacy of this particular team. And we need to have those answers before Saturday when we play again.
Are there things from these last three in particular that are kind of consistent issues that you feel like you need to target right now?
Really all 4 games in conference play, the points in the paint deal has been an issue. Not only are we giving them up, but we're also not on the other end putting that same type of pressure on them. We try to make a more conscious effort to get BG, Garrison involved, particularly early. But you also, it's a tall task. Hunter Dickinson is, Zach Edey's probably just because he's a lot bigger, but he's certainly one of the more difficult covers in all of college basketball. So, he's also like 24, 25 years old, and Garrison's 19. So, you're dealing with that part of it. And, again, they shot the ball well. We didn't offer a whole lot of resistance. So, again, we got to figure out how to defend the basket a lot better to give ourselves a chance.
To stick with BG right there, I know Dickinson finished with 21, but it didn't seem like Brandon backed down at all.
No. Didn't expect him to. His confidence is still growing every game he plays. It's also today just his 17th college basketball game. Hunter's probably played 100 and some odd plus. You can't really quantify how much that means. And we're gonna look up one day, and we hope Garrison's gonna be the guy doing that against a younger guy himself. So, but I'm proud of the progress he's making. Talked about it a couple weeks ago when we were here. He gets better because he's got humility and he works his butt off and he doesn't complain. He's still got a lot of room to grow, got a lot to get better at, but he's on the right trajectory for sure.
Called a timeout with about 80 seconds into the game. What were you trying to correct there?
Just felt like our guys were just uptight and we were turning the ball over and leading the runouts. I mean, like, you can't play uphill against these guys, and so it was like, hey, we're not gonna give ourselves a chance here if this thing gets to double digits quick, and ultimately it did, because then you come into the game and a big part of your game plan is Dickinson and McCullough primarily, right, trying to stop those guys. And you talk about Harris and you talk about Adams, and then Furphy's got 10 points at the outset. So you're really thrown off balance, because now you're trying to figure out, all right, we have to adjust the game plan to start taking this guy away, and now we're playing one-on-one against a guy who most teams can't just cover with one. So that's what I was trying to stop, and obviously we didn't do a great job.
Is the team
like post defense? You mentioned pregame. Isaiah Miranda not with the team anymore. When did that split happen, and are you able to give a reason why?
Yeah, so I don't know how documented it's been, and I can't go into too much detail because there's a lot of personal challenges there, and out of respect for the kid. But he's obviously had some challenges. And last week he came and he needed some time away, and I granted him that. And then after the weekend, he called and said he wanted to just try to move on and pursue his professional part of his career. And so support him, wish him well. He's really not part of the story of this game for sure. Not even much of the season. It really hasn't been that much involved. So just move on, and obviously would have liked to have seen it end better, but it is what it is, and we'll move on, and obviously we'll hope that he has success as he moves on.
How do you feel about your depth at center moving forward?
I feel fine. I feel like it's the same as it's been all year. That's why we need BG to keep getting better. He's the future of this deal. There's no question about it. So to have the opportunity to really pour into him and really give him the oxygen and energy that we need for him to get better, and get him out on the floor and experience things like today. I mean, think about this, guys. He played against another freshman in the Baylor game in his first college game in the Big 12. And since then, he played against Warren Washington, who's 25 years old in his fourth school. Robert Jones, who I think's been at Iowa State as long as I've been the head coach here. And then Hunter Dickinson. Like, as hard as it is, I'm sure how mentally draining it is for him. Like, these things are good for him. It's hard to say that in a loss, but it's reality. If he doesn't get in and learn what it takes to win at this level, to compete with guys like that, then he doesn't grow as fast as he has so far.
Connor Dow, 16 minutes. I think he played 11 at Tech. Is that specifically something you're seeing from him, or is it just a need to kind of try to expand the bench a little bit?
It's multiple things. He's also getting better, getting more confident. The thing I love about Connor is he's not afraid to stick his nose in there and do things that maybe you don't think he's capable of. I mean, part of the reason he kind of got banged up there at the end was just flying in there for an offensive rebound, which you wouldn't necessarily think for a guy who's supposed to be a catch and shoot guy. But he's a good athlete. He's competitive. I loved his spirit today, even when we were down. I hate that none of the 3 shots he shot from 3 went in. They were all really good looks. But what I want him to do is remain confident in that ability and continue to show up and do the work every day that it takes to get better. Because he's going to be a big part of, hopefully, what we're building for his future here as a young guy. And I think that thing can be expedited as he gets more experience in conference play the next couple games.
How was he? Looked like he came down pretty hard.
Yeah, I don't have a report specifically. Haven't talked to our trainers, but obviously he sat on the bench. He didn't leave. He was in the locker room just now. But I like to talk to the trainers and doctors, not before I try to play, prognosis guy myself.
Is there anything you've seen so far in Big 12 play that maybe wins some hope that you guys can start being a little bit more competitive coming up?
Listen, it's no fun. I mean, nobody wants to be 0-4. Nobody wants to win more than the players and the coaches. And so what I try to do is just focus on making sure that I show up tomorrow and give everything I have as my part to that. And then also demand from everybody else that's in the program to do the exact same thing. Show up tomorrow and everything you have and are supposed to give, you bring it, you give it. And ultimately, what you just got to believe is your process is sound and that it does handle the results ultimately. Won't be easy, but one thing you can't do is lose confidence, and you certainly can't stop showing up and doing the work that it's going to require to have yourself in position to be prepared to have a chance to win. So I don't know how much that answers your question. I know it's tough on our fans to watch us lose. I hate it for them. I thought we had a really good crowd today. Braving the weather, and our students were back. The energy was good in the building. Lost to a really good team, and that's what you deal with in this league. I don't really follow the rankings hardly ever, but I did see a stat that for the first time ever, there was 9 teams ranked in the conference. So it tells you it's real. The competition in this league is better than anywhere else, and so you just got to put your big boy pants on and show up and do the job. And you can't expect any sympathy or any sorrow from anybody. You just got to find a way to produce the results that are necessary.
Do you think that message is getting through to the guys? Are they still fighting? Are they still competing to where you want?
Again, I didn't think we laid down. I mean, Saturday in the second half, to be perfectly honest, I didn't love our demeanor. With all the other stuff that went on, I thought we kind of started to feel sorry for ourselves the way we played in the second half on Saturday. I didn't feel that way tonight. I felt like they tried to compete, and we looked up and Hunter Dickinson was making a shot over a defender, or it's part of what happens when you play good teams. We got to get better, and we got to keep working in order to get better. So I do think that they're hearing that message. When we show up to practice on Thursday, I'll see how they respond to the challenge that we put in front of them.
Bryce Thompson scored his 1,000th point tonight. I don't know if that's something that you knew about, but what does that kind of mean to you? Obviously, seeing him do it against his former team also.
Yeah, it's obviously an honor for a guy to join the 1,000-point club. It's always kind of a cool little benchmark. I don't think about those things as much when we don't win. So I'm happy for him, for sure. It's a kind of a thing that he'll be able to look back on, and you kind of go on some cool company when you achieve that marking. But it's hard to talk about those things when you lose a game.
How hard is a guy like Bryce who's so competitive, taking the way the last 3 games have gone?
I mean, all the guys are. Without getting into much detail, with our extra time in Ames on Sunday, our team got together and talked about a lot of the things that were frustrating the whole group. And he was one of the guys who was most vocal about wanting to fix this. And so when your guys are still committed to that, as a staff, you got to continue to dig your heels in and make sure that you do everything you can to help them.
Anything else?